Hello everyone, thanks for joining us this morning and welcome to this educational presentation where we're going to be talking about how to get tomorrow's trade signals a day in advance. Now this presentation is going to be a little bit different from what we usually do on Saturday mornings. Saturday mornings will give you more education in terms of trading. Today we're going to mainly focus on what we offer all of our students and all of our members in our new trading platform. That's our new PTS Primo charting platform. I'm going to show you how simple it is to access all of the signals for all of our strategies, all of our methods, all of our techniques a day in advance. And I'm going to show you some of that consistency, things that happened just in the last couple of weeks. Now, for example, before we begin, let's look at this chart. All right, now this is a chart here on our platform in BMA. Now, someone looking at this chart, this was actually October 20th, just last week, someone looking would say, well, nothing really much is happening, kind of a sideways market, but then look what happened. Now, this probably was due to some news or maybe some event that happened. I really don't know because we don't follow that. As you've seen in my presentations before, all we follow is just what the market's telling us. And according to our proprietary methods and techniques, what the market told us was that there was actually a buy signal the day before. So had you been a member of this specific course and specific class and the things we teach, you could have potentially taken advantage of 11 points in one day. You would have known that prior to that big update we had in BMA, which was just last week. Okay, now as you can see here, we're talking about what happened a day in advance. But a lot of people will say, well, Steve, you know, I'm not a day trader. I look to hold on for longer term positions. I like to know, you know, what the major trend is in a market, regardless of what market, because we have strategies in currency pairs, we have strategies in futures, and even in the Bitcoin, we also have strategies for stocks. So if you want to look at something a little bit longer term, let's look at what CNBC said just a couple of weeks ago. This was on October 18th. The Dow closes above 23,000 for the first time. As I'm sure you're all aware of, the market has been going higher and higher and higher for the last 2 or 3 months and continues to go higher. And as you can see here, they announced that we closed above that mark for the very first time, because of a jump in IBM, and hinted a return to revenue growth. So that's the justification. But how would we have known? I mean, most people trade a day late and a dollar short. They see this news, and most people, after seeing that the Dow has closed a bunch of benchmark, will say to themselves, man, I've missed all of this. How did I let this slip me by? Or the things I'm trading or investing in aren't, you know, really participating in this nice run. Well, let's look at the chart here of the Dow. This is the diamonds. That's the ETF that basically just mimics what the Dow Industrial Average is doing. Now, as you can see here, this is when the news came out in the far right-hand corner, as the market has gone up since August and September. Well, with what I'm going to be sharing with you today, you would have actually known that there was a buy signal generated way back here in August. So you could have taken advantage of this even months in advance. So it doesn't even have to be just a day in advance. You can learn what the setups are going to be months in advance prior to some big news, okay? So welcome once again. My name is Stephen Primo. I want to thank you for taking time out of your Saturday morning to join us on these educational presentations. I'm the president and founder of Specialist Trading. I've been trading for 40 years, and if you're new to my webinars, we are all about educating you as traders. Now, even though we provide all of our members with signals to our strategies and you know, just different information on where to buy and where to sell, we are more focused on educating you and giving you the different variables in these different strategies and different markets so that you can ultimately make your own trading decisions. You see, I've been trading for 40 years, and if there's one thing I've learned and seen in the last 4 decades, it's that the reason why the majority of all traders fail, and it's been estimated upwards of 80–85%, is not because they have a improper method or because they don't have enough experience or they're trading the wrong markets. It's because you're taking your signals or your cue from an outside source. In other words, you're relying too much on how to trade from someone or something else. Think of it. Go back and look at your own ways in which you trade. Do you go to a nightly signal service every night to tell you what to do? Now, today I'm going to tell you about how to get the signals in advance. But in our courses, we teach you all of this so that you ultimately won't even have to do this. But do you go to a chat room and find out what someone is saying what to do, or do you go and have 20 indicators on your screen? Now remember, there's nothing wrong with this, but you have to be a part of the process. You have to decide once you get a signal or once someone tells you something, You have to decide where you're going to enter. You have to decide where you're going to place your stop. And most importantly, you have to decide where you're going to exit. Are you going to stay in for just a day trade, or are you going to be in for the long haul for weeks or months? And this is what we focus on. There's nothing wrong with taking signals from someone or something else. It's just that you give all your power away. That's where the failure comes in. And trust me, I know this from firsthand experience, because that's the way I first started trading, just the way everybody else does, some 40 years ago. So if it didn't work then, trust me, it's not going to work now, 4 decades later. Now, I started my career on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange, so my background is in stocks, but I've traded just about everything there is, and all the methods I trade and everything I've learned can be applied to currency pairs, futures, commodities. It really makes no difference. Now, I traded through the crash of 1987 and the bull market that followed after that, so I know what works in terms of consistency, and I know what doesn't. So about 8 years ago, I teamed up with Pro Trader Strategies, and all we do is teach and mentor our students around the world in over 110 countries and in virtually every state in the United States, all the things that have shown consistency, things that I've accumulated, as well as things that I currently use in my own personal trading. But ultimately, we provide our students with the same information, but we want you to make your own decisions. We give you all the different variables. It's almost as if you want to, cook and make this really nice meal. So we supply you with all the ingredients, the different recipes, but ultimately you're going to have to cook it, okay? We're not going to prepare it for you and then just deliver it at your doorstep. You've got to make the decision. You've got to be a part of the process. In my opinion, this is the only way someone becomes a consistent trader, okay? By becoming a part of the process, not by taking yourself out of the game and let someone else do it for you. So even though we provide you with signals and with strategies, we give you the different variables and ways in which to trade them. All right, so this is going to be a different educational presentation today, because I'm going to show you how we provide you with these signals. But ultimately in our courses, you will decide where to enter, you will decide where to exit, you will decide where to place your stops, okay? So stick around. This promises to be a great presentation, but as always, we are required to first show you this by law, so please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you lots of charts that are as recent as just last week, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. So once again, we are required first by law to show you this. So as you're taking a moment to view our disclaimer, I would also like to take this time to invite each and every one of you to follow us on Twitter. There's our handle right there. I post different information on a daily basis. So feel free to follow us on Twitter. And there's just lots of great information and ways to find out more about what we do and what we teach there. Okay? All right. So since this is going to be conducted as a classroom, remember, I love the questions, but if we have a good crowd here today, thanks for taking time out of your Saturday morning. But if we stop for every question, we'll be here much longer than the 30 minutes I have anticipated. I don't want to take a lot of time out of your Saturday. So please, if you have any questions, just kindly wait till the very end, and I promise I'll get to each and every one of them later on, okay? The only question I will answer is, once again, the most common, and that is this being recorded? Yes, it is. We record all of our presentations, so if you have to leave early or if you're having technical difficulties, we will provide you with a link to this recording. Or Pro Trader Strategies, my sister site, will provide you with a link. And many times, if you're having technical difficulties, the best thing is just to log off and then log back on again, and you'll be okay. But if you still can't see or hear clearly, we will give you a link to this recording. All right, with that said, let's begin. Now, as I stated, my goal is not simply to force feed you signals. Even though I'm going to tell you how you can get a signal in a day in advance, that's not our goal, and that's not our focus. Our goal is to teach you how to trade with the Specialized Edge. We will help you with these signals, but ultimately, when you know what you're looking for, when you know how to trade, when we've taught you all this proper information, you'll be able to find this on your own. But in the beginning, we provide our members with signals as an educational tool so that they know what to be looking for. So we are not simply here to force feed you signals so that you have no idea why you're buying or no idea why you're selling. But we're here to teach you how to trade so that when you receive those signals from us, you understand what the process is. You understand what the process was in receiving those. And then ultimately, you won't even have to receive them anymore. You'll know exactly what to look for. This is the same edge that was taught to me. Because trust me, when I was struggling 40 years ago, I had a couple of mentors on the trading floor of the stock exchange. and who were teaching me the same things I'm teaching 40 years later to all of my students. And I said the same thing. I said, listen, why can't you just tell me what your signals that you're trading, and I'll just like piggyback off you? And they said, because if you do that, you won't understand why you're buying or why you're selling. You'll just be mimicking what we're doing, and you won't be learning anything. And then when we finally leave or retire, you're not going to know how to trade. And that's why traders fail. And at the time, trust me, I didn't want to listen. I said, well, yeah, I'll resolve that problem when I come to it, but I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. But they taught me the right way, and ultimately I'm glad for having learned the lesson, because this is what has sustained me for 4 decades. Okay, and we're going to share with you everything as it transpires on our new platform. I'm really excited about this because it took me a year to develop this with Pro Trader Strategies, and I'm really excited because we teach traders how to trade using our new PTS Primo charting platform. And you're going to see how simple it is just by accessing the platform. All right. Here's how to get trade signals a day in advance, because it involves a simple process. And I'm going to show you how simple it is with the platform. Remember, we want to keep things as simple as possible, especially in the beginning while you're learning. And then once you learn the process, then you'll know how to do it easily. And then ultimately, you won't even have to rely on this process. You will be able to do it on your own. You'll be able to spot signals on your own. But this is for our beginners learning how to get the trade signals a day in advance. All right, here's the step-by-step. We go to our platform and we plot a chart. Obviously, you want to plot a chart. Now, this example here, we're plotting a chart of Apple. Here's a current chart of Apple coming into this last week, okay? Now, once you have our platform set up, the next thing you want to do after you've plotted a chart is to simply choose a strategy. Now, we have a multitude of different strategies. As you can see here in our green strategy tab bar, we have all these different methods, all these different techniques you can choose from. And they're all valid and they all serve a different purpose. We're going to start off with probably our most consistent strategy to date, and that's our most popular, and that is strategy number 4, as you can see here. All one would have to do is click on the strategy number 4 tab, and then a drop-down menu will appear. Now, we share with you the indicator that is involved in this strategy. We let you have the settings to that indicator so you can change them if you'd like. We also provide you with signal arrows as a learning tool so that you'll know exactly where those signals are. But in this case, once you've plotted the strategy and the drop-down arrow appears, you can see all the different things you have to choose from. What we suggest is to click on Scan in that drop-down menu. This is what you'll do on a nightly basis. And once you click on Scan, this is what will appear, this drop-down page. It's right next to our Apple chart, and you can see here, here's the strategy scanner, okay? So you have this strategy scanner, which is blank in front of you right now. And after you've done that, you will simply click on Load Symbols. Now, this is in this top left-hand corner here, all right, as you can see. You click on Load Symbols, and we provide you with different options for symbols. You can look at the NASDAQ 100, you can look at the S&P 500, you can look at the top ETFs, you can choose currency pairs, you can even make up your own list. Let's say you like to look at a basket of stocks that you like to trade on a nightly basis. You can have that provided there for you, and once you decide which list you want and click on Load Symbols, in probably less than 20 seconds, all the symbols will appear like this on this little spreadsheet, all right? I believe in this case, this is the NASDAQ. So this is what will happen. Now that you have this loaded, these are all the symbols you're interested in seeing the nightly signals for. Well then, after that, you would simply click on Scan. That's how simple it is, because you've already got the strategy process of what you're looking for. See, this is a scan specifically for strategy number 4. So all you have to do is click on Scan, and once you do that, in probably less than 10 seconds, you will see a series of green and red bars on the far right. These are the charts that are generating signals for the next day. This is where you know for the next day whether there's a buy or a sell signal. Because if you see a green highlighted bar, that's a buy signal, and you just scan over to the far left and you see that there was a buy signal in Boeing on this particular day. Now, if you scan over here, you'll see there's a red signal. That's a sell signal in CMCA, all right? So let's go back and look at the chart here. Remember, we were looking at the diamonds, all right? So this is back in August. If you had gone through this process, which took me maybe about 2 minutes to explain to you, but if you did this on a nightly basis, it would probably take you less than a minute to go through on a nightly basis, okay? You would have seen that there was a buy signal generated on the 29th of August in The diamonds, all right? Now you could use this either two ways. If you actually trade the diamonds and you've taken our Strategy 4 class, you would know the different options for entry. You would know the different options for exiting. You know the different options for placing your stop. You'd also know different options for confirming the trade with another tool we have called the PET-D. You'd also know the different options for tracking the trade if you like to stay in longer, how to track the trade. All these things we teach you in our course. But this is the basic way to find out in the beginning where the signals are a day in advance. And as you can see, look what happened after that. Now, if you had stayed in the trade much longer using one of our techniques to hold on to a position, you could have still been long this all the way up if the market continues to go higher and higher. Now, another way a lot of our students like to use these setups and signals is as a directional tool. They'll look for signals in the QQQs. They'll look for signals in the S&P. And if there's a buy or sell signal given, it doesn't mean they're necessarily going to trade that corresponding ETF, but it just means if I get a sell signal in the S&P, well, doesn't that mean that the 500 stocks associated with it are mostly going to take the market down? So maybe you want to trade one of the stocks that generated a sell signal that is in the S&P 500. Or maybe you just look at it as a way to find out what the market's going to be doing because these signals have a high level of consistency. There's different ways to apply them. We're just in the beginning while you're learning, furnishing you with these signals a day in advance. So this is the simple process. It doesn't get any easier than this. And I designed it to be simple with Pro Trader Strategies because if there's one pet peeve I have, it's about how complicated platforms are. I mean, there are so many platforms I've tried in my 4 decades of trading where it's taken me a half hour to figure out how to even load a chart. Then I have to figure out what exchange it's on. Then I have to figure out what time, it just takes me too long. It's ridiculous. And then when I go to the scanning process, it's even worse. I wanted to make this as simple as possible. And this whole process that has taken me maybe 10 minutes to go through literally will take you less than a minute on a nightly basis. Remember, you can scan currency, you can scan stocks, you can scan commodities, you can scan ETFs, you can scan futures. It's up to you what market you're trading. All right, so what I want to do now is we know that you've probably gone to webinars where they do something that's called cherry picking. In other words, they pick the best signals, the best markets, and it doesn't matter if these signals are maybe 6 months or a year old, but they just want to highlight when their technique or when their strategy worked great. Well, to show you the high level of consistency that our methods have, and most specifically strategy number 4, I'm going to show you examples from this past 3 weeks. We're only into roughly the 3rd week or 4th week of October. I'm going to show you examples, not all of the examples, because there are literally hundreds of signals on a monthly basis. I'm going to just share with you some of these signals that happened in this past month. The month isn't even over yet. Just to show you that we're not cherry picking, that had you gone to this presentation a month in advance and become a member of ours and been able to use these are some of the options you would have been able to use and apply and implement in your trading. Okay, so just to share with you things that happened, not only going long, because everyone would say, well, Steve, sure, the market's gone straight up in October. It's easy to make money. Well, I'm going to share with you some sell signals as well. Okay. Just to show that these signals can be applied and they only pertain to what the market is telling you in that particular issue. It doesn't matter what the market is doing. The signals are only based and generated off of what the stock is telling us. Now remember, we're going to focus on stocks right now, but this can be applied to virtually any market, any time frame. Strategy 4, which is the strategy we're going to be applying right now, can be applied to any market and any time frame. Okay, so let's see here. On the 11th and on the 12th, had you gone to the scanner the night before, on those nights, you would have been given 2 buy signals, okay, that would have been generated in MANH, M-A-N-H. All right, now nothing much happened after the 11th, but then on the 12th, another one was generated, and as you can see, look what happened coming into the 20th, 21st of October, okay? That was just one. Let's say you go onto the scanner and you had seen that there was a buy signal generated on the 16th, the night of the 16th in BX, okay? Now remember, it's not required at all to know what the companies do. It's not required at all to know fundamentally what's going on in the company or even in the world. We don't require that. That's not in any way a part of the rules of our strategies. But if you feel you must know that, or if they help you, that's fine. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that if that's what works for you. But all of our signals are taken simply by listening to the market. And we share with you what this is in our course. There's a specific pattern with strategy number 4 that we look for. And when this pattern is implemented and then it generates, and all the systems are go, it generates a buy signal, as we did here in BX on the 16th. And as you can see, look what happened in the next 3 or 4 days, okay? Another thing that we stress is that we don't tell you how to trade. We give you all the different variables for entry. You can enter on the close of that day if you want. You can enter on the opening of the next day, the next market. You can enter at a proprietary entry point we teach you in the basic format. You can place a limit lower. It's up to you. So you could have entered 5 minutes before the close on all of these signals. As well, you don't have to trade stocks. If you like to trade options, sure, buy the calls. All right. If you want to trade some type of spread strategy that has a long bias, that's fine. It's up to you. Remember, you're in charge of your trading. We are not dictating you in any way how to trade. Now, the same month, October, on the 4th, we have a sell signal in DKS. Okay. Now, nothing happens for the next 3 days. Let's say you bought the puts. Nothing much happened, but 3 days later, another sell signal is generated. So you feel okay. The market's still telling you it wants to go lower, and then it finally kicks in. Okay. Still staying in the month of October, but just a couple of days prior to that, because we're kind of bending the rules here. I'm sorry, but we had a couple of days prior to the month. I wanted to share with you a great signal we had in IBM that happened on the 9th of the 28th. Now, this was September 28th. You could have gone long the next day, the 29th, would have entered you a day prior to October, so I apologize for that. But this was a really nice signal because, once again, look at the stock. It's basically going sideways. There's no, rhyme or reason as to what it's going to do. Someone saying, well, it's in a range. You wouldn't take any position in this. But according to our proprietary strategy, strategy 4, it generated a buy signal, and nothing much happened again for the next 2 weeks, but ultimately it kicked in, as you've seen IBM going up. And so in the next 3 weeks, IBM has gone up 16 points. So this would have been a nice place to actually purchase options or some type of a long call strategy. Let's look at GE. GE's been in the news lately. It's been acting poorly. On the 4th, prior to any downward move, we were signaled that a sell was taking place on the 4th, according to our proprietary method. Remember, we're only looking at strategy 4. We have a number of strategies, as you can see here. Strategy 1, a very good strategy, 3, 3A, 4, 5, and 8, along with all of our different other techniques here as well to confirm and enhance your trading. Now, this was just strategy 4, sell signal, and as you can see, look what happened in the stock coming into the 25th, 26th of October. So we have some stocks going straight up, we have other stocks going straight down. Our strategies don't care what the overall market is doing. Remember, they only take into consideration what the actual stock you're trading is. It's our belief that everything you need to know is in the chart in front of you. If you want to look at news, if you want to listen to some guy on TV, that's fine. But everything you need to know is in the chart in front of you. Why waste your time? Why waste your energy overcomplicating things? Simplify your trading and you'll become much more consistent. We're just showing you a very basic beginner's way in which to get these signals a day in advance. Let's look at KLAC. Here's on the 4th again. As you've noticed, we've had some really nice sell signals happening on the 4th. Well, on the 4th, the same day, we had a nice buy signal in KLAC. So you would have seen on the spreadsheet on the daily scan a green bar next to KLAC. Okay, so you would have punched that up. It's up to you to decide. You'll measure the risk. You'll define where your entry wants to be. You'll define where you want to exit. And then you decide if you want to take this trade or not. Had you decided to take this trade, well, it's a nice 6-point gain coming into this past week. Now, on the 29th, once again, I've kind of stretched the envelope a little bit. 1 day prior to the month of October, we had a sell signal generated in letter M. Once again, this is a rather expensive stock. It's only $20. I'm saying that facetiously. So you can decide how you'd want to trade this. You could actually short the stock if you had enough capital for an inexpensive stock, or if they had options, I don't know, but it's up to you what to do. Or let's say you were long the position, maybe in your portfolio, you just said, I got a sell signal, I might as well exit right here and I'll get in at a lower price. Either way, it's your decision how you want to take this. And as you can see, look what happened to letter M the next week or two. TEAM, team. All right, this was on the 19th. Now, the stock had been going up nicely, but then it kind of hit a sideways approach. A lot of people would say, well, it's kind of taking a rest, a pause before it goes higher, where other people would say, no, it's hit major resistance, Steve. You got to short this because it's gone up too soon and the stock's going to go much lower. All right. Once again, these are all outside sources telling me what the stock's going to do. What is the actual stock telling me? Well, according to our proprietary strategy requirements, it's telling me it wants to go higher. That's why it generated a buy signal on the 19th. So looking at the price, looking at your account, looking at the money management tips we teach you in the course, looking at the different variables in which to enter, variables in which to place your stop, variables in which to exit. It's up to you to decide whether you want to take this trade. This is where becoming a part of the process lands and falls on your shoulders. You've got to be a part of the process. We'll provide you with signals, but ultimately you decide how to enter. And it would have been a good trade though, because look what happened, 11 points in the next day. So obviously some news came out which caused this. We had no idea what that news was. The market told us a day in advance it wanted to go higher. Let's look at AAOI, okay? This was on the 12th. While some issues are generating buy signals, this particular stock is generating a sell signal because it follows an entirely different set of parameters. That's okay. We just listen to the individual stock we're trading. We can have a decision whether we want to go long or short. If we only like to take buy signals, then we ignore the sell signals. If we like to trade long and short, then we look at both signals on a daily basis. It makes no difference to us. We're only listening to what the stock is telling us, and this stock is telling us it wanted to go lower. And look what happened. The stock dropped 18 points coming into the 25th of October, okay? Obviously, once again, something came out the next day that caused this to drop tremendously. Did we have any idea? Absolutely no. We don't look at that. We only listen to what the market's telling us. And the market tells you just about everything you need to know. So we knew a day in advance to sell this. All right, on the 16th, the same time where other stocks are generating buy signals, sell signals, LII is generating a buy signal, okay? Once again, someone could say, well, Steve, this looks like it's rolling over. It's going to go back to those old lows. It's an expensive stock. It's got to come down lower. Nope. According to strategy number 4, a buy signal is generated. Now, we realize being a $100, $200 stock that you may not want to actually purchase this. So maybe you want to purchase options. It's up to you. You're in charge of your own trading, not us. We're not going to tell you what to do on a nightly basis. We just give you all the ingredients for a high probability setup, and then you decide how to trade it. So we share with you this high probability setup here on the 16th, and a week later, 20 points to the upside. Let's look at letter W, okay? On the 5th of October, a sell signal was generated, okay? You could decide whether you wanted to sell that or not, and 6 points in the next 3 or 4 days to the downside. Remember, a lot of these times, if you happen to be long a stock and you see a sell signal, you can use this as a stop placement or a way just to get out of the stock, because most likely, if the stock's going down and you own it, you may want to just exit. It doesn't mean you have to short it, but you may want to use the sell signals as exiting points as well. Okay, BECN, on the 10th of October, a buy signal was generated. Even though for the last 4 or 5 days, the market has closed lower, the stock has closed lower, which to a lot of technicians is a very bad sign, a buy signal was generated according to strategy 4 requirements. And nothing much happened. In fact, we opened higher again and closed lower for the next 2 days in a row. But guess what? We still generated another buy signal 3 or 4 days later. So even though the stock is drifting lower, even though it keeps closing lower than its opening for the majority of the days, which is a negative sign, because ultimately most people will say, well, that means there's more sellers than buyers. The sellers are in control. Our strategy is telling you the market's saying it wants to go higher. Don't listen to that. Don't listen to those things. The market says it wants to go higher. So even though we kind of had a losing trade here for 2 or 3 days, this is the consistency with our methods. Maybe you would have been stopped out. Let's say you decided to use one of our very tight stops. Well, you would have been stopped out on the 10th, okay? But believing in our method, you would have gotten right back in, jumped back on the horse on the 13th, and look what happened, okay? It's because we only listen to the market. Don't overcomplicate your trading. Adobe, all right, this was on the 18th. Once again, the market's telling us it wants to go higher. Even though the stock is basically going sideways, the market is telling us, I want to go higher. If you want to jump on board, if you want to buy options, if you want to actually purchase the stock, you could have purchased it on the close of the 18th, and look what happened 2 days after that, okay? Once again, did we have any advanced information that the stock was going to gap up the next day? Absolutely not. The only thing we listen to is the market. Now, remember, we're not cherry picking. We're looking back at this past month. I've shown you a couple of winners. I've shown you some. I should say I've shown you a couple of losers where you've had multiple signals and the first one didn't work out well. But if you'd gotten back in, you would have recouped your loss and made even more. That's what consistency is about. We're not promising the world and saying that every trade is going to be a winner. But if you stick with it long enough, you know, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. That's what we try and instill in all of our methods. All right, so before we go into question and answer, let's recap, okay? Because this is a very simple process. Our nightly scanner generates tomorrow's trade signals a day in advance. But please remember, we're not telling you simply to blindly buy or sell these signals. That goes entirely against our philosophy of specialist trading and pro trader strategies, because then we would join the ranks of just about every other webinar you go to or every other system you purchase for tens of thousands of dollars. That's why most traders fail, because you just blindly take signals that you have no idea what they're based on, but you trust who's ever generating and telling them. We are generating these signals, but we teach you the rules behind them, and we're giving you these as educational purposes so that you know what to look for. Ultimately, you will see these signals on your own. I've been trading long enough where I don't need a scanner. I can just go through charts on a nightly basis, the ones I'm looking for, and know exactly where a buy or sell signal is generated, because I know what to look for after all these years. And we want to get all of our students to that point. But in the beginning, while you're learning, we provide you with the scanner so that you know what to check your work for. Then ultimately, once you get these signals, we still don't want you to blindly take them. You have to understand the process behind each and every signal. Well, do you want to enter on the close of that day? Do you want to enter on the opening of the next day? Would you like to enter at a proprietary entry level, multiple proprietary entry levels, which we teach you in the course? Would you like to have a short stop? Would you like to give yourself a lot of room in the stop? Would you like to get in and out quickly? Would you like to exit and take as much bang for your buck? These are all pieces of the puzzle that you have to decide, but we work with you. And personally, as your mentor, I teach you all these different variables and then let you decide, because you have to feel comfortable. You cannot trade someone else's strategy. You cannot trade someone else's system. You have to feel comfortable with what you're trading, and guess what? We teach you all these different variables so that you can feel comfortable. We have students that will see the exact same signal on a nightly basis. They'll know why it was generated. They'll both go long. One will buy the options. The other one will buy the actual stock. One will get out with a nice profit in a day or two. The other one will stay in for the long haul. They both make money, but on their own terms. Okay, one will have a very small risk management. The other one will have large risk. It's up to them. So that's what we say. We're giving you these high probability setups, but how you trade them is ultimately a part of the process, and it's up to you. This is how you become a consistent trader, not by blindly taking someone else's signals. Now ask yourself, before we go to questions, I want to ask you a question. Do you think this edge could have helped your trading this past year? We're nearly at the end of the year. We've only got a couple of months left. Is your trading anywhere near where you thought it would be? I can almost guarantee you it's not. Everyone starts the year off the same way. They say, well, this year I'm going to make it. I'm going to buy that dream car or go on that dream vacation or build that addition to my house. And then most likely by the first quarter, they all know they're never going to get there. Okay? Here's your chance to get on board, to close out 2017 with a strong finish and to start 2018 with a bang, to really be going forward with your trading. Here's our special offer for all the people taking time out of their Saturday morning. We're going to offer you our Primo charts, okay? The PTS Primo charts. Here's where we put everything in one-stop shopping, where you can actually learn how to trade and you can learn how to listen to the market. We're giving you a 30-day trial for only $7. $7. I mean, that's amazing. I can almost promise you that most of you spent more than $7 just trading yesterday. We're going to give you 30 days use of the Primo PTS Primo charts for 30 days for only $7. But we're not just stopping there. Here's what's included in this introductory trial offer, okay? We're going to throw in a strategy. Now, We didn't show you the signals for this particular strategy, but this is our most consistent pullback strategies. Now, pullback strategies allow you to buy at lower prices and allow you to sell at higher prices as long as you're in sync with the overall trend. We're going to give you all the rules and give you all the signals to strategy number one, a great pullback strategy. And you can scan for that as well for the nightly signals. We're also going to share with you steps. Now, this steps is a great tool for fine-tuning your entries. I would say like once or twice a week I get an email from someone telling me that, Steve, you know, I'm doing all right, but my strategy is okay, but God, I got in too late or I got in too early. This is what Steps does. Steps fine-tunes your entry. So if you have a strategy that you feel comfortable with, but it's not giving you the right entry points, simply add steps 1 and 2, and they will show you the high probability entry points for any method, any strategy, any technique, in any market. Okay? This comes included with this. Obviously, you're going to get the signal scanner. So everything I showed you today, you'll have full access to ETFs, all the different stock exchanges, to indices, to currency pairs, or even creating a basket of stocks or market on your own. Okay? We're going to throw in our enhanced buy-sell line. Now, I've given presentations about this in past Saturdays, and as you can see on this example here on the chart, that's what our enhanced buy-sell line is. It colors the back of the chart and tells you whether you are in an overall uptrend or in an overall downtrend. For example here's an example of one of our buy-sell line features. It's called the fluid feature. Now, when you see the blue background, it's telling you that the overall trend is up. And when you see the red-orange background, it's telling you that that's when you're in a overall downtrend. But the beauty of the fluid feature is that it also tells you the slope of that particular overall trend. And when you have a strong upward slope, most likely you're going to be going higher and higher. Conversely, if you have a strong downward slope, well, most likely you're going to be going lower and lower. So you see the beauty of it here as we look at this older chart of Fossil, that we were in the blue overall buy uptrend until we got to this point. At this point, here is our enhanced buy-sell tool telling you that we are now in an overall downtrend. You should either be short or you should be out of your positions and looking to go short. Once we got to the strong downward slope, it was telling you that we are in a full-fledged downward move. This is where the best setups take place. This is included, just one of the many features of our buy-sell line included in the PTS Primo chart. You're getting this all included. Now, we have over 90 of the standard technical indicators, moving average lines, we have different stochastics, we have money ratios and things of that nature. So if you like to tinker under the hood, if you like to look at a lot of technical stuff and experiment with, you have access to over 90 technical indicators. Now, we know that we have kind of a technical bias here with a lot of our information, so don't worry. For all of you people who like to look at news, who like to know about fundamental information, guess what? We've thrown in Bloomberg TV. This is also included in our introductory package. All you have to do is once you go to a chart, click on the media page, and you'll see this come down next to your chart. Okay, so as you can see here, we're looking at a 5-minute chart of the E-minis on the left corner, and the page right next to it is our media page. You can toggle back and forth between whatever market you're looking at and the media page. As you can see here, it'll give you all the live news on Bloomberg, anywhere from what's happening with all the markets to most watched videos to actual fundamental news that's happening at the moment. So we don't want you just to feel that you have to become a technician to use our platform. If you like to look at news, once again, it is not required. It is not part of our strategies, but we have it offered for you so that you can have it always going on in the background if you'd like. And then lastly, with the $7 offer, we're also including personalized tech support. We realize that not everyone knows how to use a different platform with ease as an experienced trader. Sometimes you have difficulty loading a chart or knowing how to apply a certain strategy. It's extremely simple for the people who have used our platform before. They say, boy, this makes it so simpler than other ones I've used where it takes me maybe a half hour to load a chart. Here it's done in a matter of seconds. But if you are having trouble, we try to get back to you as soon as possible with our tech support, and they will contact you via email, and sometimes they will phone you as well. So it's all included. All of this is here for you, so you can decide for yourself if you really like what we're having to offer you. And I know that many webinars you go to, they'll talk about this great system, a great trading plan, and then they'll say, just join. It's only $500 or $100 or even $1,000 to get started. we're showing you in good faith that you can use our new PTS Primo charts for 30 days, 1 month for only $7. And then after that, after the month, you can decide whether it's meets your needs or if you'd like to explore more. I believe after that, it only goes up to $97 per month. So this is a great way to become acquainted with what we do and to see the basic things that we offer so that you can really understand how to be consistent, how to be a consistent trader for the first time. Now, here's how to take advantage of this. Remember, my sister site, Pro Trader Strategies, who I developed the platform with, you can email them at trading@protraderstrategies.com. I would suggest probably calling them if you'd like to get more information or if you'd like to speak to someone to ask some more questions. But that link you see at the very bottom, that's the trial link. The only trouble is it's not live, but don't worry. If you go to the chat box on the far right, we have provided you with a live link in the chat box. All you have to do is click that on, and it will take you to that $7 trial offer for 30 days. If you do have any questions, though, that have to do with platform usage or just different things pertaining to signing up for this 30-day trial, there's no obligation. Just contact Pro Trader Strategies. They have traders manning the phones at 310-598-6677. They're in charge of all the technical information. They're in charge with anything concerning discounts and strategies, sales and marketing, anything in terms of teaching or actually mentoring with the strategies and methods. Someone would contact me, okay? Now, I'm going to leave this information up here. I want to thank you so much for taking your time this day, and also I want to thank you for holding off on any questions. So let me see here. I'll open up the question and answer box. And Pip, who's one of our students, says, you mentioned that strategy applies in all markets and all time frames. How do you use it for intraday trading, including the forex? Well, hi, Pip. Pip, by the way, is going to be is a member. Is not going to, but she is a member of our forex college, which starts in the next week or so. Which it's a different class, but that's for more advanced forex traders. We teach, if you're asking for how do you use it for intraday trading, I will go in terms of all of that and show you exactly how to do that. Now, if you're asking how to use the scanner, if you're intraday trading, I don't really think you need the scanner. That will overcomplicate your trading, scanning every 5 minutes for a setup. And especially if you're intraday trading, you will be supplied with these up and down arrows. So you will know automatically when a signal is generated. But one of the things we stress and our goal as an educator is to have you know what to look for. So if you're intraday trading, we always suggest you should only be looking at a few markets at a time. And after you know our strategies, I mean, you won't really have to rely on anything other than your own knowledge. You'll be able to see a setup, whether a red or down arrow appears or a green arrow appears at all, because you will know what that's based off of. In fact, that's what our goal is. We want you to get to that point so that if you're intraday trading, you don't have to scan every 5 minutes to see what the setup is. You don't, because that's overcomplicating your trading. You're spinning your wheels too much. I want you to, as an intraday trader, to just look at a few markets, and you'll be able to know right off the bat whether a buy signal or sell signal is being generated. It should be that simple, okay? David says, is there a plugin for this for NinjaTrader? Can you also get option pricing with the platform? Well, NinjaTrader has their own scan service, which I believe is a little bit more complicated than this. We do have our strategies and methods, the ability to be applied, but you don't get all the other things applied, such as the buy-sell line features. You don't get all of the steps and all that included. Everything is included here for only $7. So those things are extra things you'd have to purchase for to get on NinjaTrader. Okay, we're including everything here for $7. Now, if you say, well, listen, Steve, I'm interested in a strategy. Yes, we sell separate add-ons for that strategy, for NinjaTrader, for Thinkorswim, for TradeStation, for Metastock. But this is our presentation. We're just trying to get you accustomed and get to know us with our new platform so that you can use this, and it's just one-stop shopping. Obviously, if you like to look at Thinkorswim, you can have that on one screen and then toggle back and forth with our PTS Primo charting platform on the other screen to see the signals. So there's lots of ways to use it. Pip says, again, thanks. Tech support suggested running the scanner at night. I couldn't figure out why. Well, I think that probably they were saying like it's best to run it at night if you want to get the next signal for the next morning. I think maybe they were looking at daily setups. Okay. Let's see here. We have some more questions. You mentioned this strategy applies in all markets and time frames. Yes, it does. And remember, we know that I've showed just basically stocks today, but as I stated, strategy 4, which is one of our most consistent strategies, as well as strategy 1, the strategy you're getting entirely for free, can be used intraday. It can be used on commodities, on currency pairs, on futures. All of our methods can be easily transferred over onto any market and any time frame. Do some work better than others? Do some generate more signals than others? Yes. Strategy 4 generates the most signals and has the highest level of consistency. So that's what we recommend for beginning traders. But that's another course entirely. We're giving you, in good faith, strategy 1. So you know all the rules and you'll get the setups on a nightly basis for strategy 1. We're also throwing in steps. That a lot of people just use that as an entry point and as a way to trade themselves. These are fine-tuned entry points. They say, Steve, listen, that's all I need. I'll figure out where to place my stop and where to get out. All I need is the entry point. So that's fine with me. So we're throwing that in as well. We're also giving you our enhanced buy-sell line. This is a great tool, which I've often stated. If I were stranded on a desert island, this would be the only tool I would use if I only had one tool to trade with. The buy-sell line has kept me out of more trouble than any other tool I've ever used, regardless of market or time frame. So that's being thrown in as well. So all of this for $7. I can't think of a better deal, okay? A lot of people just starting to use our platform in the last couple of weeks are already hooked, and they're going to, once their trial ends, they're going to sign up for the, I believe it's $97 per month package. But we want to, in good faith, just share this with you. So that's why we're not doing what a lot of other programs and webinars do, is saying for the simple price of $250 a month, you'll be able to get all this, and then it goes up to $1,000 a month. We really want to show you, our sincerity in trying to get you to learn to become a better trader. So I think most people can afford $7 for 30 days. In fact, if you went out and had fast food lunch today, I often state there's no way you could get fast food for even yourself for less than $7 these days. If you went out with another person to have lunch, it would cost you $15, $20. So $7 is a great way to get acquainted with us, and it's a great way to get your trading back on track. So as we close up here, I want to say once again, thanks for attending today. I hope you got something out of it. We didn't stress so much on education, but we will do that in weeks to come. One last thing I'd also like to mention, I will be speaking at the Traders Expo this next week in Las Vegas. So if you are out there, I'd love to meet you. I'd love to talk with you. I can give you more information. We'll also be talking about the platform. And so there won't be I believe there will not be a Saturday webinar next week, but then we'll follow the week after because I will be speaking at the Expo. So thank you so much for taking time out of your Saturday morning. I really appreciate this. I know it cuts into your day many times, so I don't want this webinar to go on for 4 or 5 hours. I really hope that you got something out of this, to see the ease in which you can make your trading, that you don't have to overcomplicate things in order to be consistent, and show you the ease in which you can get nightly signals the day before, many times the day before a big move. I didn't cherry pick and go back the last 6, 8 months to show you the best setups. I showed you things that happened the last 2 weeks, and not only great buy signals, but great sell signals as well. So even though the market has been making new highs, we're still generating sell signals that have shown tremendous consistency. So if you're not convinced, $7 is a great way to become familiar with what we're trying to offer, and shows you our sincerity in that we really want to teach you to become a better trader, okay? Thank you so much for attending today. I wish you the best of luck trading, but most importantly, I hope to see you as a new member and involved in our new PTS charting platform. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.